The country, because I've been traveling around for the last several weeks, and part of that travel's involved a book tour, because I wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope. And some of you may recall that I took that line out of the speech that I delivered at the Democratic National Convention, but I have to confess before TV cameras and the public today that I actually pilfered that line from my pastor, Jeremiah Wright Jr. I did it with attribution. It's in my book that he actually gave me this line. And I first heard the phrase, the audacity of hope, about 18 years ago. I had gotten out of college, and I was interested in figuring out how could I work on behalf of the community to help lift it up, to help give people who didn't have much of a chance a little more of a chance. And so there were a group of churches on the south side of Chicago that were trying to deal with the devastation of steel plants that had closed all throughout that region. People had been laid off, tens of thousands. Homes were up for sale and foreclosure signs were everywhere. Commercial strips had deteriorated. Schools were having problems. There were spikes in crime, and young people were getting into trouble. And so as I was working with these churches, I attended one Sunday this church, Trinity United Church of Christ, which is now my home church. Oh, we got some Trinitarians here. And the pastor delivered a sermon, and the title of it was The Audacity of Hope. And his premise was very simple. He said, sometimes when you look around, it seems as if the world is falling apart. There's war, and there's famine, there's poverty, and there's violence. And the easiest thing to do, Gwen, when looking around at all the strife and conflict in the world, is to sometimes take refuge in cynicism. To conclude somehow that the world as it is the world as it must be. There's not much we can do to change things. There's not much we can do to make things better. And the best thing to do then is just to withdraw and try to make sure that we're taking care of our own business and looking after ourselves and not engaging in the larger project of American renewal, because we don't really have much confidence that things can happen. But my pastor then said, you know, what requires audacity, what requires a boldness of spirit, what requires courage is to hope, to believe that somehow things can be better than they are right now. To believe that the world as is not the world as it has to be. That we can in fact make a world that's more fair and more just and